Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, where fantasy and fun come to life. We're going to have so much fun together.
Welcome to Down Home Horror, where we keep the highlights on for you. And today, we got more FNAF hype. Yeah! It just snuck in. Another trailer snuck in during all my light watching of Barbie trailers. We're not that kind of podcast, unfortunately, but we are the kind that will cover FNAF. And so we're going to do just a little bit of hype, a little bit more excitement for this full-length trailer. It's about 2 minutes, 30 seconds long. And if you missed our other one, maybe there's a thumbnail. Most definitely it's going to be linked down below, where we were super excited about the tasty nuggets. Now we have more of a fleshed out idea of what this movie's going to be. And I have some thoughts on it. And I think Amber has some thoughts on it. And I didn't say who we are. I'm Alex. It's not important. Listen, all that's important is that we're talking about FNAF today. So that's it. I'm so sorry.
We have name tags. It's fine. Figure it out.
Didn't talk about what we do. Nah, highlights on yada yada FNAF. Let's talk about those animatronics. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, and we'll actually be able to watch the full length without muting it this time. So then, without further ado, if you haven't watched it, now we're watching it. This is thanks to Universal Pictures.
Hi, this is Mike. I was just calling to see if that job that you offered was still available.
Yes. The security guard.
I will take anything.
This place was huge in the 80s with the kids. They shut it down years ago. The owner's just not ready to let it go yet.
I will work and you will sleep.
I understand.
Give me your hand.
All you have to do is keep your eyes on the monitor.
Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's, where fantasy and fun come to life.
Okay.
Okay.
You must be new security guard.
Can I help you, officer?
Have you met them yet?
I love her.
She's perfect.
Met
Like
who?
Them. In the 80s, kids went missing. The police searched Freddy's top to bottom.
Hello?
They never found them. That's why the place shut down.
bummer.
There are ghost children possessing giant robots. Thanks for the heads up.
Technically, they're animatronics.
Technically, come on, you're right.
What do they want?
They want to make her like them.
Happy? Tell me how to stop them.
Bye.
It's too late.
Let me go!
Sorry. New logo.
Where to? Why do I always get the weirdos?
Okay. I realize I need to keep sharing my screen because there's a few screenshot moments I want us to talk about, like Easter egg things that I don't think are too spoilery, more just like, yay, our community. First off, this, all the employees of the month there are people who are from the community, from the FNAF community, who have been on YouTube and Reddit and everything. They were welcomed onto the set and they took pictures. So like that's the first Easter egg of
That's so cool.
Moreover, this fellow right here, Corey Kenshin, also a big YouTuber, also was huge in the FNAF scene.
Oh, that's him?
Yeah, so
nice.
he actually gets this like acting role in it
That's
too.
cute. I love that.
Right, we've talked about this in our teaser trailer a bit, right? The cool thing about FNAF is the community, you know, how it got
Yeah.
built up because of YouTube in particular and Let's Plays. The fact that we haven't seen anything about Markiplier yet really surprises me, though, because his was like the one that made it. He was involved in the ARG game, so I'm not sure if he won't or couldn't, or I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know enough. Someone might come into our comments and say, "Oh yeah, he's scripted in the IMDb or something."
Well,
Well, maybe not. But
YouTube seems to know a lot about Markiplier since we did get some comments on the last one about how
Right?
he's the god of FNAF. So if y'all know more,
Please
just
inform
let
us.
us know. Yeah.
Stuff like this, I don't necessarily mind. I know during our
Right.
teaser trailer, it was cool because people went to our comments and said, "Well, actually," and it was like the first time I didn't mind a "well, actually," talking
Right.
about timeline things.
As a person that doesn't know a whole lot about FNAF and is still weirdly excited about this, I actually do appreciate the well actuallys in this context because it's educational for me and I get to learn things from people who know a hell of a lot more about FNAF than I do. So thanks, guys.
There's something to say too, always with the asterisks. There's so much that's still left unsolved with FNAF that it's a lot of theory building. There's some basic blocks that we have. There's actually a quote from Scott that I want to pull up that I liked a lot. So, talking about how the timelines, the floor, the facts, it's still kind of mumble jumbled, right? And then you get the books involved, and there's people in the FNAF community who are like, "These are garbo," and there's people who are like, "No, the lore is canon." The reason it gets so confusing, and I understand it, I'm reading The Silver Eyes for the first time, and I know the twist, the plot twist, everything for Silver Eyes, so it's a little pointless for me to be reading it, but it's important, so I'm doing it. And there's so much that's canon, but also non-canon. And people were upset when the Silver Eyes trilogy originally came out because they were saying, "Oh, here's a lot of information, but it doesn't line up with the games perfectly. So it doesn't make any sense." So Scott Cawthon said, "The games and the book should be considered to be separate continuities, even if they do share many familiar elements. So yes, the book is canon, just as the games are. That doesn't mean that they are intended to fit together like two puzzle pieces. The book is a reimagining of Five Nights at Freddy's story. And if you go into it with that mindset, I think you'll really enjoy it." I think taking that into consideration with this movie, don't expect this to be the game lore, right? We've already seen that. We talked a little bit about that during the teaser. Mike, our main character, in theory, is supposed to be related to William Afton. Is it possible that we're going to get a Star Wars-like reveal at the end of this? Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Maybe it's a completely different timeline where this is just Mike person and it's pulling on names because they're similar enough, kind of like how Silver Eyes does. One of the things I think that's like lore, but not lore, if we go back, this right here, people are talking about this and like, is it Withered Freddy? Is it this? Here's my thing. And Amber, I'm so sorry. This isn't for you. This is for other people. But I think this is Lefty, who comes into the game. Gosh, is it the pizzeria? It's a later entry into the series, and the lore behind it was that Lefty was out there trying to bring back Charlie, I believe, instead of, or in part because of the mannequin. Either way, Lefty is a whole other animatronic. The difference is that Lefty actually has like black fur, looks like Freddy, black fur, and is missing, wouldn't you know, his left eye. I also think looking at the eye color, which a lot of people are talking about the eye color, right? Because we saw they changed it a little bit. That's Bonnie. So instead of having that stoner red eyes, they've toned it down a bit, right? They're now more orange. That it looks better in my opinion. I think the red might have just been a quick filter almost, right? That didn't seem permanent in the trailer. Like, there's no way. There's no way they just did one shade red.
That was actually one of the things that I noticed watching this trailer compared to the teaser, because I know from little bits I've seen here and there from the FNAF community, it was that people were not happy that they had red eyes. So when I watched this one, I was like, wait a minute, did they change this, or am I crazy? Like, is this color more acceptable, like generally speaking, than the red?
What I'm seeing from people, yes. The cover of Silver Eyes has Freddy with red eyes. So why people are upset about the red eyes, I don't quite understand. But then you get the Silver Eyes right there. This is our boy Springtrap. We saw it there for a second. Listen, all I need is a still of that sank and this knife I found. lore-wise, Springtrap is the machine costume that William Afton wears when he's killing kids. So you're hearing Iliard hum the theme while holding a knife. So they kind of are making Springtrap a slasher when, again, game's canon is that he's just so strong because of the Springtrap suit that he actually is like harming instead of stabbing, right? So there's interesting things to explore in that. But Silver Eyes, I'm going back to that. Silver Eyes was pretty unique to Springtrap in general. So they also mentioned Silver Eyes and Foxy as well for the Silver Eyes trilogy. The eyes can possibly represent the souls that are trapped in it. So when I had that still up before of Freddy and not Lefty with the blue eye, I have a theory that that's probably gonna be more of an end of movie moment, and I actually think that's Mike in the suit. That's my guess. I think Mike dies protecting Abby, and his essence gets put into the Freddy suit. Since we're messing with this canon not canon storyline, I think that's what's happening. There's also a mention from Vanessa saying that the robots are going after Abby because they want her to be one of them. Which
excuse
again,
me, they're animatronics.
They're animatronics. Come on. You're right. My apologies. That the animatronics want her to be one of them, and the games and the books, the animatronics tend not to go after kids, right? Because it's kids being possessed, and they're actually going after adults who have potentially harmed the kids or could have harmed the kids, right? And fuzzy logic. We'll talk more about it later, I promise. But baseline is, I think that the animatronics are going to be staged in a way that's like, we're trying to get the kid out to hurt her, and then they're actually trying to protect her, particularly if they know that William Afton's around, hanging out for like 5 nights. I don't know. And yes, so that's my theory. At least I think Michael's going to end up in the Freddy suit at the end. I also think it's a reference to Lefty, who was protecting Charlie, who gets killed. Amber, I'm so sorry. Thank you for bearing with me on this. These names mean something to the community, I promise.
Listen, they're starting to mean something to me, okay?
Maybe FNAF is just the journey we took along the way. So that being said, as excited as I am for the little Easter eggs that are in there, and please, there's a lot of folks talking about the trailer, people who have been in the FNAF community a lot longer than I have been. FNAF himself, I think I saw JC Film do a pretty good review of this as well. At the time that we were recording this, Game Theory didn't have theirs up yet, but I cannot wait to see what Matt has to say about it. But, you know, I was telling Amber before we got started, as excited as I still am about this movie, I enjoyed the teaser trailer so much more than this full length, because I think the full length does the thing, like the horror sin of showing too much of the monster, right? Showing too much too soon. It reminds me a bit of the Quarantine trailer. And I'm not sure if you remember where the Quarantine trailer shows the ending of the movie in the trailer. I was pissed about that. And I really hope they're not doing that with this trailer. That's me just kind of being nitpicky as far as like storytelling, advertising goes. I still think the movie's gonna be wonderful. I just really enjoyed the bite-sized trailer a lot more than this full-size trailer.
And I had the complete opposite reaction to it. I guess it's because I don't know a whole lot. So seeing what I saw in the teaser trailer was like, it was cool, but then having a little bit more to go off of for me was kind of upped the hype a little bit. Again, as a person who doesn't know anything about FNAF whatsoever, other than potentially spoiling some of the movie, I do really like the trailer though, like the way that it's put together with like them hitting the buttons in tune with like the song in the background. I'm a sucker for that. I don't know why. I just think that kind of thing is really cool. So it was a cool trailer. I'm excited for a movie that's part of a franchise that I again know nothing about. And it's not just because Matthew Lillard is in it, I promise. But
though. That would be permissible. Just saying, I would approve of it. Stan. I get it.
I'm really excited to see him play kind of like a a bad guy. Like, I know that obviously in Scream he's a bad guy, right? But just
Bad
this
guy?
this is something a little bit different from things that I've seen him do before. So I'm really excited to see like what he does with this role, especially being that, you know, as this character, William Afton.
Yes. Yeah, you nailed it.
Um
Steve
he's
something is the counselor tag, but that's neither here nor there.
but I don't know. I don't seeing him as this character, I feel like based on the small amount of information that I've gathered on who William Afton is, I think it's just going to be very different from anything I've seen Matthew Lillard do. So I'm excited to see this. And Josh Hutcherson as well. I haven't seen him in a movie in God knows how long.
Yeah, I also feel like he hasn't aged a day
No.
from Hunger Games
Jesus,
to
no.
this. Nah.
I don't understand. I want whatever Hollywood secrets he's holding.
Good healthy living, no stress, I'm sure. I'm glad that you're excited, and that means I'm going to keep leveraging that into more FNAF stuff as time goes on. I still really want to take you through my wild ride of the timeline. I look forward to that, but I think we're going to do that closer to when the movie releases. That's a few months away. Also gives me some time to read the books and add in some book lore too. Oh my. It's weird for me. I like my franchise media to mimic the media it's copying. So like The Walking Dead. I really enjoyed the first season and a half, and then it kind of starts pulling away from what the comics did. And I was like, no, I want the comic story. Game of Thrones, first season's amazing, and then they started to take it off. And the reason they do that is so that way they keep people like me, but not like me, involved in the story. Because most people who read those things and then want to see a movie of it won't come back to certain episodes if they think they know all the beats. So they have to add in extra stuff so that way the average consumer. However, my mental things want the exact same thing. Just give it to me. So, going back to that quote from Scott, not all the stuff has to fit together. And like he has said that since the beginning, right? That the canon is fuzzy in this world. And it's enjoyable to see what actually becomes true canon and what ends up being just kind of adjacent canon. So that's why it's easier for me to watch this movie and be like, well, actually, they didn't do this. Like, no, it's fine. It's fine. They're going to do their own thing. They're hitting all the beats enough that if we did our genre breakdown of a FNAF movie, I'm not seeing anything missing. I'm really not. So I think we're going to have a good time. I think the fans are going to really enjoy themselves. I think people who haven't been into FNAF before are going to really enjoy themselves. I'm excited. October 27th.
I know this is probably a little premature to ask this, but do you see there being a sequel to this? Having not watched the movie yet, obviously, do you think that there's going to be a sequel?
That's a good question. Long pause of thought. Let's see here. My hesitancy is that it took them 8 years to do a first one, right? And that's like a really long production time. But now they have the animatronics, right? Like they have the set pieces, they have the props, and they have the rights squared away. I would be curious if they would. I think the stuff too, like say the D&D movie that came out, it was really good, but it just didn't make enough money. There's no talks of it. So I could see people who really enjoy FNAF still going in droves, but still only a percentage of people, right? It would be super funny to me if FNAF ends up out box officing D&D, for the record. Something that's only been out, a decade or so.
I'm willing to bet that it will.
We're here for the journey of it. We're here for the excitement. We're here for this movie that people who've been waiting 8 years since they were a kid to see. There was some cool stuff too. There's the prize wall with the masks, and that's like actual masks from like Spirit Halloween. The plushie of Freddy is like one of the original plushies that was ever made. There's little plastic masks that are referencing the bite of blah 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 blah. I'm saying stuff that will mean stuff, and I'm just trying to shorthand it. Like they did a good job of pulling in real props from real life into their world, right? It's good. I think they're doing a great job of listening to the people, to what they want, to what they know. Like the eyes, for instance. And they changed it. Or maybe it was always going to be that way. Who knows, right? But at the very least, it appears as if they're listening to the community, and what they can fix, they will fix. I think we're going to get a movie that people who aren't fans from the get-go are going to really enjoy. I think fans are really going to enjoy it. It's going to be a good film. All this back to your original question. Will this get a sequel? I hope so. I hope we get a sequel that's like Sister Location. Or even if we ended up getting Silver Eyes Trilogy, like a True Blue copy-paste version of something like that. I would like that. I think it's going to depend on how well it does in the box office.
I think that it's gonna do really well, honestly. I think obviously it's gonna, because Saw 10 comes out the same day, I think it's gonna make a hell of a lot more money than Saw 10 does.
I'll be curious, because the other thing is that it's going to be on Peacock, right?
Oh,
So
that's right.
there might be people who end up not seeing it in box office, and which is going to be more important. Hey, if you're watching it on Peacock, be sure to watch it within like the first 48 hours that it's out, because that's like a lot of streaming services base that kind of information, real quick turnaround. So if you're watching on Peacock, do it within the first few hours, like first few days. It's important. And don't pause it halfway through. Watch all of it, or at least leave it all the way through. We gotta hack the system, make the system work for us, so that way we can have the content that we want. But that's I think all I have for now. Hype, excitement. I'm glad that you're hyped and excited about it too. And you're gonna learn so much. I'm gonna show you the world of FNAF.
Always wanted to be shown FNAF, so I'm here. I've seen some of the games and still didn't know what the hell was going on, and just liked watching them because they looked fun and the people that were playing them were having a good time. So I'm excited to get a little bit further in depth in this community.
I know we had a bunch of subscribers coming from our last trailer hype video, so please stick around if you're still here. New people, stick around. We're going to cover more FNAF stuff. But if you're here because you saw that we're FNAF, we do other horror stuff as well. We do a lot of horror reviews. We're going to be kicking off an Evil Dead breakdown timeline. It's going to be a big project. It's our Evil Dead project, and that's going to be premiering in August. So if you like horror, if you like all things horror, stick around. See what we do. We're very excited to have you here. Real quick outro then, since I failed to introduce us properly. If you are trying to hide from animatronics, where can we find you, Amber?
You can find me on Twitter at Amber Blitz, on Letterboxd also at Amber Blitz, and you can find our podcast on Twitter as well at Down Home Horror.
Because this is coming out like lickety split, right? If you are an Evil Dead fan, don't forget we have a Evil Dead survey that you can fill out. We're trying to get as many fan answers to our questions so that way we can integrate your interest in the Evil Dead inside our video series as well. So that link will be down in the description. I'm sure it's pinned over on our Twitter, and we hope that you participate. You can also find me on Twitter at Roll4Alex, where for the most part I'm promoting a lot of the like actual play tabletop role-playing games that I do. But if there's anything else that comes up along the way, that's where you can find any news and such from me. And so until next time, be sure to check under your bed for monsters, and maybe even Foxy, because I can't.
And I won't.
Bye.
Bye.